Okay, I've pressed the record button. So that's something. You've gone somewhere. Progress has been made. Okay, I don't actually have much to say. Well, I do, but this is very new to me still, even though I've done videos like this before. This is the first time I'm doing one properly. I've even got myself in the middle of the phone. Like, I know, I didn't even turn on the grid format, but I know I'm in the middle because I'm smart and I know how videos work, and that you want to keep your head, there needs to be space above your head and below. I could even be a bit more further back, but I was like, here is fine, here is okay, because I'm recording this on my front camera as well, so that's already new because I don't usually do that, but I've got a good front camera, so figured let's give it a try. What was I gonna say? I was gonna talk about what it means to be a creative, right? Because as a creative person, I feel like creativity has become something that capitalism wants to commodify. Don't want them to do that, right? I don't want that to happen. I know it's already happening, but I don't want it to happen because as a creative, as a musician, my keyboard's behind me, which you can't really see, but I'm a musician, right? And I love music. I love to perform music. But knowing that the main way people determine success in music is how many listeners you have, or whether you do tours or concerts and things like that, it's like puts me off music, because for me music is something that I just do because I love it. And like I've not even posted that much music online because of the fear of this whole like, oh, what if people don't like it, or I'm not trying to be pro, so what's the point of me trying? And I don't think that's the right way to go about creating content online, or creating music rather, or being a creative in general, right? Like I'm filming this video and I know that if I do want to post it, my brain's already like, oh, I'm going to have to edit it in a particular way, sort of thing. But I figured I would just record it anyway because like, who cares, And one of the things that helped me in my creative journey is realizing that it starts with being creative for me before I do it for other people. And if I don't create things that I enjoy, it doesn't matter whether other people enjoy it. And I think it's really easy to get lost in what other people want, especially as someone who's done content creation before and who's still kind of doing it, right? I got really sucked into, oh, I know what's going to perform well, I know what's not going to perform well. And I remember when I started my content creation journey, right, as like a tech content creator, a lot of the stuff that I did well was just that have stuff that had brand names and stuff that like made tech seem really easy to get into. But I knew deep down that tech is not easy to get into. And there was a bit of a cognitive dissonance between those two things, because I knew that the ideas that go viral in the tech space are when tech is presented as something that anyone can do. But in reality, tech is really hard. And I've studied computer science for 4 years, so it's easy for me to say that it's easy, but like the people watching me aren't also CS students. So yeah, I think every creative field or just every niche online has that problem of the things that go viral aren't always the true things about the field. And that's made it really hard for me to create content actually. It's made it really difficult because I feel like the only way I can create content is if I lie. Essentially, the only way I can create content that goes off is if I cap. And I don't want to do that because for me, creating content is about actually just sharing my ideas, and it's something that I enjoy doing, right? It's something that I like doing. I like talking to the camera. I do audio journals almost all the time. And I learned that I have to do these things for me and share what I want to share and be who I want to be and do what I want to do before other people even enter the picture. And I think sometimes as creatives, we get lost in trying to please other people, that we forget that actually we create because we want to please ourselves. And if we don't have that right, it doesn't matter what other people think of us, because other people are only going to like things that we don't like. Right? If we don't like what we're doing, other people can only like what we've put out that we don't like, So when they say create content that you would want to watch and do things that you would enjoy, they're not capping, because ultimately what you put out is what people are going to assess you based off. And if people like your tech content but you don't actually like creating tech content, what's the point? But yeah, just because people like that, you could go viral off of it, but you don't enjoy it. So where do we go from here? Where do we go? And I think for me, as someone who wants to take content creation seriously, I have to be honest about the fact that actually I want to do this for me, and I want to start with creating things that I want to create, regardless of whether I need to edit videos in a particular way or format them in a particular way. Because in reality, when you're speaking to someone, you don't have cuts and breaks, right? They don't cut up their video or their speech so that you can hear them. It's only because we're on the phone and we have sort of short attention spans for our phones and for technology that people have to cut up their videos. But nowadays, some of the videos that I've enjoyed a lot on YouTube are the videos where they're completely uncut. Or maybe there's like minor cuts, like here and there. But it's not like cut. The videos that I really enjoy are the ones where they just talk at a topic for ages. And they share a lot of really valuable info. And those are usually the topics that don't even have an edited thumbnail. The title is just something basic. And they do really well. Because I feel like we've really lost the essence of why content creation is really powerful, really fun to do, because everyone's viewing content creation as a business opportunity and not solely as a self-exploration journey, right? So many people who started at content creation in the past that are doing well at it now went into it because they loved it. The money didn't even enter the picture, because back then there wasn't any such thing as monetizing your audience or like YouTube AdSense or anything like that. People just chose to create content because they wanted to learn more about themselves and put themselves on there. And now that, like, yes, we have these systems that allow content creators to do this in a sustainable way, there's still issues with it. And a lot of people are now seeking to gain that, you know, the money and the fame without actually checking whether they enjoy content creation. And I'm just here like, is this what we want to do? You know, is this where we want to go? Do we want content creation to just be something that we do for money? Because I know that the creators that I enjoy the most are the ones who actually enjoy content creation, not the ones that do it for money. Because the ones that do it for money always give up as well, right? And this content creation journey is not one where you can just post a few videos and pop off. Like, you can use as many growth hacks as you want, but you really do just need to enjoy it, right? You need to enjoy it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you need to enjoy content creation, because it's like with most things, right? People say about getting into tech that you need to enjoy technology if you actually want to make tech your career. And I agree. I think technology needs to be something you're relatively interested in. Otherwise, what are you doing here? You know, like, why are you here? You know? Because it's just, yes, the money is great, but if there's no passion there, what's carrying you through? What's carrying you there? And I've always been a big believer of just following your passions, and the right career will come to you. The money will come through your passions, not through doing things that have money in them, right? Like, I'm about to do a PhD in October, and I remember even when I came to this decision and got the PhD and everything, like, I was still here thinking, well, I have this amazing CV. I could go into tech industry and make crazy money if I really wanted to. But instead, I want to go and do research where they're notoriously known for not being as well paid and it's intensely competitive. And for me, I realized that ultimately, yes, I can make more money in industry, but I love research and I want to follow that passion I have for research whilst I'm still young and whilst there's low stakes, because right now I'm like 22, right? I can go and do this PhD, finish it in the 3-4 years and still be young enough to go into industry if I hate it. But if I say no to this, I would never know whether research would have been the right path for me. And for me, even though I don't know what this PhD is going to entail and whether it's going to take me where I want to go, I know that I have enough passion for research that will carry me through the research journey, whether I know what the end goal is or not. And I think sometimes we can fixate on the end goal of doing something, because capitalism has forced us to turn every journey or every path we take into something that's commodifiable, something that has a guaranteed ending, right? Like, you can't do things for the sake of doing them anymore. Something has to happen after you do it. And I think that's so jarring, right? Because people can't say, oh, I want to start a business without people saying, oh, you're going to fail because it's not going to be this big, massive company. And it's like, why can't people just do things because they want to do them? Why can't people have hobbies that aren't monetizable, right? Why must everything lead to making more money or gaining more status? Like, why can't people just do things because they want to do them? And that's what I feel we're missing right now in this generation, especially with the way the world is and with this cost of living thing. And I get that, yeah, things are really, really hard financially for everybody. And the last thing we want is to turn everything that we enjoy into something that has to make money. Because when you turn something into a job, you can lose the passion that you have for it in a way. And I'm not saying that happens for everybody, but I think especially if it's a passion that you really enjoy, if you turn it into your main gig, you can lose the essence of why you do it. And I think nowadays people don't want their hobbies to be side businesses or side projects or side hustles. They just want to be able to do them freely. And that's real freedom. Real freedom is being able to create the music you want, even if it gets 0 listeners. Because truthfully, you shouldn't have to pursue music in such a way that if you get loads of listeners, then it's worth it. You should be able to create music that's bad because you want to create that music. You want to bring that music out there. Artists should be able to create art that they enjoy, even if nobody buys it or nobody asks for a commission. They should be able to just do these things regardless of the external outcome. But because of the society we live in, everything's being turned into, oh, but what's it going to do? How are you going to use it? Like the number of times people ask, oh, what's your PhD going to actually do? How are you going to use your PhD? Oh, if you end up in industry, your PhD is pointless. It's like, none of this matters. Right? Not how I use the PhD doesn't matter right now as I'm about to start it. It doesn't even matter at the end, right? Because ultimately I chose to do this. And I think it's so annoying that people have to justify the things that they want to do in the lens of capitalism so that other people can feel as if they're doing something that makes sense. When in reality, we do things that make sense for our own life journey. And for other people, it might not make sense, but they're not the ones living our lives. They're not the ones who have to do the PhD or who have to do the thing that we're choosing to do. So all their opinions about whether or not it fits or whether it's like the standard route means nothing. Right? Like we've got so many opinions to pass to other people, but we're not living their lives. Right? We're not the ones going on that journey. We're just not, we have our own journey to live. And who are we to say that someone can't do something because with their skill set, they could be doing something else? Like, let them do what they want to do. Yes, it's annoying, but like, who are we to say we know the person better than they know themselves? And I think it's just gotten to a point where it feels really hard for me to say that I want to do certain things like build a SaaS or write a book or do something because everything has to be a big thing now. You can't just do things. Everything has to be some big project that fits into some narrative of who you are. Like it has to be some sort of jigsaw puzzle when in reality, I should be able to just do the things that I want to do because I want to do them. And I think a lot of people really want that nowadays. Like people don't want to stress about, oh, how does what I'm doing fit in the bigger picture of who I am? Like if we look at people who are in their 50s or 60s and we look at the trajectory of their lives, there's so many people who started in one career, ended up in another. Like, but that doesn't mean that the career they started in was a stepping stone. They might have chosen that career and thought that was a career they're going to end up in their whole lives. But later on realized that actually I want to do this. And they switched to that. But that doesn't change the reality of that initial career that they had. It doesn't invalidate it. It doesn't make it less than. But I think nowadays everyone thinks that if you don't pursue something to its fullest, it's just a stepping stone. And it's like, no, it can actually be something bigger than that. Or maybe your mind can change as you're doing it or as you realize that maybe this is not the thing you want to do. Like for me, I wanted to go into industry for like the first 2-3 years of my CS degree, but now I'm here and I'm like, industry just isn't the right thing for me right now. But I could do my PhD and realize actually I do want to go into industry. That doesn't invalidate my PhD at all. It just means that actually I spent the time pursuing a passion that I had and realized that actually I want to do something else. And that's okay. But I think this whole thing of trying to find your ideal job or your dream career, your dream thing, has kind of lost everybody in trying to find this one title that will summarize everything that we do. But humans aren't designed to only do one thing for 40 years straight anyway. That's my hot take. I know some people do that, but I don't think we're designed for that. I think we are designed to do loads of different things and to learn more about ourselves in these different things that we do. And I think because we're so used to putting ourselves in boxes, we're so used to specialising, especially in this UK, the fact you have to choose 3 to 4 A levels to do from the ages of 16 to 18, and that will determine the university or the course you study, is insane. It's insane. And I think that's something the US people maybe got right, because I think for them, they get to do a lot more different subjects around that age span. But here it's like you're kind of locked out of so many options from the age of 16. And it's like, the things you love can change over time. Like you can choose to do something at A level that in reality, when you're older, you wanted to do something else. And it's really hard because as someone who is doing a comp sci degree and didn't take maths because I knew that I didn't want to take maths and instead chose music, chemistry, and computer science, I'm here still doing a comp sci degree with people that took maths, further maths, comp sci physics. But they might have had other interests that they wanted to do at A level but decided not to because they were like, well, actually, maths is going to be the thing that gets me into university. And it's just so peak because as someone who's not bad at maths but chose not to do it at A level, it just feels upsetting that people have to compromise the A levels that they take because some of them are worth more to universities than others and they may not be able to do the course that they want to do, but that can also change too. So it's just so jarring, basically. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because I don't think life should be such a, I don't think everything should be in a box. I think we should be able to do the things we want to do and live the life we should be able to live without thinking about whether it fits in the big picture, whether it's a piece in the jigsaw puzzle. And this is coming from someone who's used to having a goal to strive for. And now I'm at a point where it's like, well, I just don't have that goal. And it feels weird because I don't exactly know what I'm living for. And that's a very wild thing to say. And I'm not in danger, I'm fine. But I just don't know what I'm living for. I don't know what my purpose is or whatever. I don't think that's a bad thing to admit. But it does make navigating life different because I don't have that thing that I really want to do. And I think we obsess so much about everyone having a purpose or a goal that they want to achieve. But sometimes there is no goal. Sometimes people are just here to live. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay for your goal to be to live, which I guess is a goal in itself. But some of us just don't have that big thing that we want to do. And no amount of taking on goals that capitalism has enforced onto me will change the fact that I don't have that goal. Because I think sometimes, at least from what I'm seeing, people who are in this position of not having a goal tend to overcompensate and just choose a goal that fits the societal norms. Like, especially people who want to optimize for like, oh, well, I could just make more money. And then they kind of fixate on money for most of their lives. And it sounds really cool because, yeah, they get to make all this money and all of that. But then they lose who they are in the process and they never have a stopping goal as to what is enough money. So even in their 50s and 60s, they're still working, even though they have more than enough money to do all the things that they would have wanted to do with the money in the first place. But they never defined that because they decided, well, I'll just make more money. And they still keep going, even though everyone around them is like, you already have more than enough than you need. Talk less about, the whole wealth inequality. You already have more than you have enough to do what you want to do. But they're still going because in their heads they're like, well, this is what I've decided to cling my identity on, so I'm going to just keep pursuing it. And I've seen that happen to so many people, and I don't want to be that because I think it's a very easy thing to cling on to. That or health or like other things. Like we've seen how people who are really obsessed with gym can lose themselves in the gym as well. And I'm not saying that going to the gym is a bad thing, but when you're in this place, it's really easy to cling on to anything. Not to mention faith. That's a whole different thing. Like the people who are in this place and just go, I'm just going to cling on to God and God will be my identity. And like as a Christian, I'm like, that sounds really cool. But at the same time, you have an identity too. And your identity doesn't have to be something that's solely reliant on the existence of a God. Right? I just truly believe that if God was real, I do believe in God, but like, if a God like the Christian God is real and gave us free will and allowed us to choose the things we want to do for better or for worse, he wouldn't then say that our entire identity has to be based on him. Because otherwise, is that really free will? Like why give us free will if we don't actually get the room to exercise that free will by, having an identity that isn't based on his existence? That's what I think. I don't know fully. There's probably some philosophy paper or something that can go into that bit a bit more detail. I want to read a paper about that because that would be really cool. That's something I'm trying to learn more about. But yeah, for me, it's like, yes, I believe in God, but I struggle with him being my only source of my identity because for me, it's like there was parts of my life where I didn't believe in him and I still existed and I still had an identity. So I think you can really lose yourself in thinking that your only identity is in God. And I'm saying that as a Christian, so you can imagine. So my main point is just when you're in this position of not having a goal to pursue, you can lose yourself so much. You can cling on to anything, like relationships, love, sex, all these different things. You can cling on to anything. And sometimes the best thing to do is to not cling on to anything at all. I know that the pressure to cling on to something is there. Like, I've definitely felt the pressure to just hold on to something and be like, this is who I am now, and I'm going to run with it. But in the past, when I've done things like that, I've realized that no one thing can define my identity. And I think that's the problem in itself. Like, we're trying to find one thing or one name or one title that can define who we are. But what if we already know who we are and we're just trying to learn more about who we are through the experiences of life that we have? Right? Like, what if our identity isn't meant to be one word in the first place? Like, I don't know who I am doesn't have to require an answer. Like, what if we're not even meant to find our identity? Like, what if we're just meant to live life? You know, like, I know, like, you know, it's part of existentialism and whatever, but maybe we're just not meant to find our identity, or maybe our identity is not meant to be in the form that we think it's meant to be in. Right? I just think that sometimes we can really try to box up these things, like box up these really big questions into like, who am I? Why is the world like this? Why does suffering exist? And why does... There's so many big questions, so many big answers. And I think sometimes we can lose ourselves in these questions. And as someone who's trying to figure out all these things, whilst also realizing that I can't put my life on hold in the pursuit of finding the answers to these questions, I still have a life to live, right? I'm realizing that, you know what, whether or not I have the answer to these questions, my life, it still has value. I can still do things. I can still pursue things. And maybe I don't have an end goal to what I'm doing. Maybe I don't know what I'm going to do with my PhD, and that is fine. It's fine. You don't have to have a big reason for doing things. You don't have to have some grand statement for why you do things. You can just do things. And I wish as creators we knew that we are allowed to just do things for the sake of doing them. Like, we don't need a big reason to do things. We don't need to justify our existence so much. We don't need to justify why we created something. We can't just create because we want to create something. And it doesn't matter whether it makes money or not. We can just choose to create something. We can spend as much time as we want on it too. We don't have to be efficient. That's one thing that annoys me so much about doing a comp sci degree. We're so focused on efficiencies and like making nanosecond changes that like make your computer run like a millisecond faster. It's like everything is so focused on faster, make this faster, that we've kind of lost the art of what made computer science really interesting. The whole part of just like being able to build something over time, we've kind of lost that because we're so quick to find another way to make it quicker. Like, see web dev, right? Web dev is just framework after framework after framework being created so that people can create websites faster, as if we can't already create them fast enough. As if there's not an abundance of problems that we can solve with the existing frameworks. We're still creating new ones. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, because I'm like, there's so many people who we can help with what we have right now, but we're still so focused on trying to improve what we have instead of using what we have to do really cool things. And I know this is not specifically a computer science problem. This is a problem everywhere, especially with AI, but I know that's also computer science related. It's a problem in every industry. There's so much focus and money going into making things better, but not into actually using what we have to make things better for other people and for people to just enjoy what we have instead of trying to fixate on, oh, we could make this like 2 seconds faster if we created another thing. I just wish that creation was something that we chose to do for ourselves and not for the sake of building wealth or trying to build a business. Just something that we do for ourselves. And if it turns into a business, that's great. If that's what we want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But I just think there's a big problem with the fixation on everything having to lead to more wealth, more money, more status. And as a creative, I think we should learn to create things for ourselves first. Learn to enjoy the pursuit of recording videos like this, for example. Like, this has been really fun. And like, I don't know how many rules of video editing or video production that I've broken, but I don't care because I actually enjoy doing this. And I just want to find things that I enjoy and see what happens. And I don't want to fixate on things that I enjoy either, because that's a whole different topic, right? The whole thing of finding the one thing that you enjoy and just spamming it into the ground. I don't want to do that. And that's a big problem with content creation, because if you have one idea that does really, really well, but that one, you don't like the idea, and two, you don't want your entire identity tied to that one idea, you like spamming it just isn't for you. But so many creators do this. They get one idea, it goes really well, it goes viral, and they keep repeating the idea. They rinse I don't want to swear, they rinse so much out of that idea. And it's not fun. It gets boring, and then they lose themselves in that one idea. I don't ever want to be that. For me, content creation is about expressing who I am, sharing my thoughts, and seeing where that takes me. And I don't know how many times I'm going to do these videos. I don't know whether I'll be in the right mood to do videos like this. But all I know is that the more I give it a try, depending on how I feel, something will happen. Like, something will happen. Whether it's positive or negative, something will happen. It'll be helpful. It will teach me more about myself. And that's the main thing, right? Like, who cares if only 2 people see this? I don't even know if I'm going to post it. So, like, I just think we need to learn to do things for ourselves before we do it for other people. We need to learn to do things that we enjoy without trying to attach some external goal to it. And we need to learn not to turn every part of our life into a commodity, and just to let life be what it was originally made to be, an experience of different things.